YouTube, welcome back to my channel. For those of you new here, my name is Allie DeAndrea. I'm a hunter, an angler, a public lands advocate, and lover of all things outdoors. Welcome to my channel. Today I am going to be trying Nick's thumb release. This is a 4-finger handheld thumb release. This one is by True Ball. Nick bought this last year and hunted with it last season. And because of my last archery release testing video, I tried out this wonky handheld release by Scott and ended up liking a lot of features about a handheld release, specifically when it comes to my draw cycle. So it had me curious to revisit handheld releases, and because Nick has this beautiful, lovely thumb release, I thought I will steal it for the day, maybe longer, and try it out, see how I like it. So that's the game plan. I also just got done building this beautiful bow hanger. Took me about an hour, so tell me how pretty it is in the comments below. So first things first, I'm going to warm up with, my regular release, warm up, and then we'll get to trying this handheld release out. Let's do it. Oh, I have to turn it on, duh. There we go. 21.8 yards, wonderful. Felt pretty good. My draw cycle feels really good. It's been a couple of weeks drawing like this. I'm super pleased with it. So in my quest to improve my draw cycle, I've been learning a lot of other things about form along the way, and I realized I now need either a smaller peep or I need to adjust the housing of my sight so that it moves closer to my peep. The reason being, whenever I'm at full draw and I'm trying to line up the peep with my sight, there is a lot of extra space around my housing and like around the housing of my sight to the circle of the peep, if that makes sense, which makes it really difficult to line it up perfectly every time. Now, having a larger peep is better for letting in light. So at those last light kind of scenarios as a hunter, it can be beneficial to have a slightly larger peep. But the issue is my sight housing is already pushed as close towards my peep as I can. And the reason why you would do that is because by bringing the sight housing closer to your peep, it makes it look bigger to the eye, which means it would fill up more of that peep circle. Anyways, it just has made me realize that I might need to drop down in peep size, or I might need to see if I can get a different sight housing on this single pin sight. I don't know, we'll see. I am going to be changing my string and cables in the very near future. I am slightly hesitant to do that right now because my string and cables are a little bit older. They're actually very old. They need replaced, but because they're old, they are a little bit stretched out. So although my bow's limbs are backed out as much as they possibly can, my bow's draw weight is less than technically my limbs would allow, if that makes sense. So I know once I replace my string and my cables, my bow poundage will go up slightly without me ever touching the limb bolts, if that makes sense. So I'm happy that my draw cycle is feeling good and strong because hopefully I can increase it a little bit so that when I do go to change my string and cables, I'll be good to go. This is a very sort of long-winded tangent before we even get into what you guys came here for, but I think it's important to sort of share all of the discoveries that I'm finding through this process. Because not only am I working on my form, I'm learning about building out my own bows. And I've tinkered with my bows ever since I started archery, but not to the degree or level that I am now. So All right, so I shot 2 shots and I feel good. So I'm just gonna jump in with the thumb release.
She's eating ants.
It's either a good source of protein or a good way to get a bite in your mouth. When it comes to shooting a handheld release like this, you want to hold it with your hand completely flat, like so. When you hold it like this, inevitably you create a little V between your index finger and your middle finger. So within that V, you want to nestle it right on your jaw. So your index finger will go underneath your jaw and your middle finger will go above, and it creates this little sort of cradle that happens there. Once you are at full draw and you have sort of set your anchor, you want to bring your thumb to the trigger, apply a little bit of pressure, and then we're going to use the same back tension technique that we do with our wrist strap releases, and pull your elbow to an object behind you. That will make the bow go off, and then you want to follow through by sort of contracting your bicep and bringing your release hand over your back shoulder. So that is the gist of what's about to happen in words, but whether it actually happens like that or not, I don't know. This is what I'm worried about the most. This is what like freaks me out the most, is the drawing part, because I can't keep my thumb near this trigger. So do I smush it up against my hand, or do I just kind of let it go like this? It's nice that this rotates. So I could even draw, like I can draw however my wrist feels comfortable, and then be able to, all right. Here we go. Okay, step 1, feet. Step 2, posture. Step 3, grip. And we're gonna raise the bow up and draw. Oh, butter. Okay, now you could see that I was curling my hand in a weird way, just sort of naturally. This feels very wrong. Because my, okay, well, we'll try it. I didn't like that. Dang it. When I was at full draw, I felt like this was way too far back. But always takes a couple shots to get used to. Let's try again. We'll try again and again. How did you think that looked?
I mean, it wasn't a terrible shot.
It actually went where my last arrows went. Let's grab them. Like yeah, I don't know. It's not, I'm gonna hold it here for a second so you can like look at where it's at. So when I line up with my peep, I feel like I'm like adjusting my head a lot, and I feel like my hand is just not, like it's like my pinky finger's like in my ear. I'm like stumped. I'm a little confused. So I naturally want to like curl my hand up, I think, just to hold on to this real good. So by opening up a lot, it's just creating some interesting pressure on my ear and on my face that I'm not used to. My shots are pretty good, but feels weird. I'm only at 20 yards. I don't know. Shoot more. It's a good group. Shooting really nice. Nice. That was a good shot. So here are my final thoughts on this handheld thumb release. As far as thumb releases go, which I haven't used that many of them to be fair, it feels totally in line with what I would expect out of a thumb release. I had the same positive experience when it comes to my draw cycle with this release. I definitely think that some type of handheld release is better for this high elbow kind of a draw cycle, which most people have. It's just straight up more comfortable, in my opinion. For me, it is. As far as the actual releasing goes, I don't think it's any harder or easier than the wrist strap in terms of using back tension to release. Because with this, you can just as easily push your thumb and make it release in the same way that you can pull your finger. Now, you're probably more likely to pull your finger than push your thumb, so maybe in that regard it does make you a little more aware of using your back to actually pulling that elbow back to release the arrow. But one thing that's for sure, when it comes to a wrist strap, the tightness or looseness of this release around your wrist is going to affect the length, okay? Even in the sort of release portion of it. If you have one that's adjustable and it can move a little bit, that change in distance is going to greatly affect your anchor point, which is then going to affect how your arrows are flying downrange. So when it comes to that, the handheld release is going to be better at consistently setting your anchor point. The issue for me today was that I just couldn't really get comfortable with my top knuckles, like my pinky and my ring finger, coming up against my ear and my face. I think that it's something that would improve with time and practice, obviously. So my final thoughts, I do like this release, but I want to try more. It hasn't, like, I didn't try this and think, this is my end all be all. But it makes me want to try more styles. So I'm not going to steal this from Nick right now. I might in a couple months be like, wait a second, give me that release back. But overall, cool test, and in general, a lot of good sort of epiphanies for me. Like, I know this specific video is sort of about this release, but it's also just about continuing to share what this process has been like for me, really cranking down on what I'm doing with my form and what I'm doing with my bow. And yeah, so I'll continue to share all of this. So that is it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.